All right, boys. Happy Sunday. I'm here with Brownie, here to talk some football. Last week of the fantasy regular season. So we got a lot to get into, especially since everybody is still technically in the run here. So yeah, we're really gonna kind of just get started, kind of look at the standings, see where people stand, and kind of really go from there. Gonna start from the bottom and then work our way to the top here. So we have five teams that are currently 5-8. Bash Bros, AR-15, Highland Park Owls, Brownie Stud Muffins, and Team Swiss. So I think we're really going to kind of just start off from the people who are very unlikely to make it, and are really fighting for that one-on-one, which is pretty wild that we are still here fighting for the one-on-one, which is super important. But Austin, correct me. I think you have all of these picks
Every
besides,
single one.
besides your own, right?
No, my own is the
Oh,
102. I
you
have my
you
own.
do have your own now, right?
I did have four. Now I have five.
You have Samala, Santana, wow, you literally have all four of them. That is insane. Well, there we go. There we have it. That works out. Beautiful. So let's start
Look
off.
forward to 2025, fellas.
Yeah, that's incredible. Good for you. All right, we're gonna start off with Samala here. So Small's team, as we previously kind of talked about, is the one that traded Patrick Mahomes. He is definitely being very, very impacted. Um, I'm glad to see he actually actually, he traded away Austin Eckler, which was kind of controversial, but Austin Eckler has absolutely been terrible. Um, just not a good running back at all. I saw last week that he had like 14 carries for 17 yards. Like it's sad to see. It's sad to see. He's gone off the hill very, very, very quickly. Um, Anything to say about Austin Eckler? Austin.
Yeah, he's like a route Mount Rushmore of like fantasy football for like the last 7 years or so. So it's just tough. It's tough to see that potentially age is catching up to him. If I'm a Eckler owner, I'm just holding and I'm running him into the sunset. I mean, if this year he was riddled with injury. The Chargers are
Sunset's
all over
looking
the
dark right now.
place. Yeah, the Chargers need a new head coach or at least a new OC. You know, things need to change in that organization. So I'm I'm holding him. I'm not trying to get rid of him. I'm not going to sell him at his low point. Samala did a good job selling him at his high point, and I don't know. I still have hope for Austin Eckler for at least another season or two. But this year is not. This would this would rock me. This season would rock me a little bit if I was an Austin Eckler owner. It would scare me.
Sure. And like Samal did good. He got a 25 first and a 24 second, I believe, from Bash.
Yeah.
So
And the idea too is like just in fantasy, I'd rather sell someone early. Yeah, maybe I lose out on another good year of him.
for sure.
Um, but I'd rather sell someone early when they still give me the proper value than hold on a little too long and have an improper value. So he did it.
Yeah, no, he did. And then kind of looking at Samala's draft picks, he has so many draft picks coming up, so he's definitely going to be starting to fill up this team.
Yeah.
Once again, it's definitely not something that's like terrible. It's very competitive. He has Sam Laporta, which was a
Yeah, that's
great
a big
grab in the
deal.
draft.
That's a big deal.
The Calvin Ridley thing is going to be interesting. We got to see if he's going to resign to the Jags. He's he's obviously been improving, but now he kind of maybe lost Trevor Lawrence for today. Who really
Yeah.
knows? That's still a game time decision. Keenan Allen has been an absolute stud with Justin Herbert, but he is getting up there. Now he's 31. Wide receiver
That might be another name for him to
to probably get off the name and then kind of go.
yeah.
I'm surprised he wasn't moved at all on the trade deadline, honestly. I thought that's someone
Mm.
who would get off his team. Um Kind of someone I really want to talk about with you on his team is Jameson Williams. What are your thoughts on Jameson Williams? Very polarizing player right now.
I don't think he has enough value to let go of him, so I think he's like a mandatory hold. I don't think that it could, I mean, that offense is explosive, so it could totally work out, but right now it's working out without him. So the last couple of weeks he's been getting a little bit more attention. I think the head coach was quoted saying that he's starting to get it. He's starting to become a team player. I think that was the issue at the beginning. I think he was a very, I don't want to make assumptions, but the word on the street sounded like, he was having a hard time, collaborating with the team and kind of filling the role. If you look at like Amon-Ra St. Brown, he literally throws his body at people to block for his running backs and for his tight end, on like short screens and stuff. And Jameson Williams isn't really a big body guy, so maybe he's one of those guys who's not so used to throwing blocks and being like that kind of a teammate. But I think recently, we've been seeing on screen that he's been getting more involved, and I think that's because he's doing more out in the field. I think he has been setting blocks for like the wide screens. I don't think he's going to be the guy who sets blocks for like the run game, but if he continues to become a team player, and I think that's who Salah is. I'm sorry, not Salah. Who's the Lions head coach?
Dan Campbell.
Campbell. I think that's the kind of guy Campbell is. He's like, I'm gonna feed you if you buy in.
For sure.
So if if you're Williams owner, you're hoping that he buys in and he's not selfish, and that will increase his role. Um, but yeah, if I have Williams, I'm probably waiting for him to finally get a string of games together, maybe like a 15-10-15 kind of like a 3 week string, see if I can get some value for him. So I just think that this might turn into like a Jalen Waddle situation where there's just too many mouths to feed, and you don't really know when
Yeah,
you're not going to get the consistency.
I'd
I'm
be
not.
surprised if he got Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle's like targets and receptions type of thing. Like you definitely you hit it on the head though when you're just like he's definitely getting more play time. Obviously, you see those snap percentages going up, but the thing that always worries me is that there's always one or two receptions and then some big yards. So just
Yeah,
a really big yard
he's a
kind of.
streaker. Yeah,
So
he's a
yeah,
streaker.
it's interesting. It's gonna be hopefully he gets past that though. That's not I don't know, not something that you really want for consistently fantasy football. Like this is a boom guy to the boom and bust guy to the max right here.
Yeah,
Someone you
he's
want.
I mean, I think you have to hold him. I think you have to wait
Oh
another
yeah, for
season.
sure.
You have to wait another season to see how involved he is. He's a good stash player. He definitely is a great stash player.
Yeah.
But as of right now, there's really no other move but to hold. You know, Samala's got a lot of young names. I mean, I don't think he's got the depth to do anything crazy next year.
Kind of
I mean,
Walker still. That's
yeah. So like when you look at his bench, you know, Bellinger is a good name, but he's already got a tight end. Michael Mayer is a good name, but he's already got a tight end. Musgrave is a good name, but he's already got a tight end. Booty is a stash. Samuel's getting a little old. Might want to see what you can get for him. Um, Kenneth Walker, like you just said, on his start. Well, he's got Levis and Rogers. So Rogers next year will be a startable asset for him. Levis will be developing. Aaron Jones, you got to get rid of him. Roshan Johnson, I think, is a great name.
yeah.
Um,
I think
it's
Roshan
a
Johnson is a
yeah,
his
it's
start.
amazing that he hasn't taken over that backfield fully yet. Um,
Oh, he's well on his
but I
way.
think I think there's no other direction. I think this offseason, one of those three names,
I think Small traded
Herbert.
for him too. Yeah, he did.
Say that again?
I think Small traded for Roshan Johnson, and he did.
Yeah, Samuel Johnson second. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So October 20th was Pollard still in his slump by the 20th? Probably.
Yeah, I think so. Or he just came out of his like a surgeon's.
I don't think that's a horrible trade. I would have not taken Samuel. I would have just taken another pick. But
Hey,
yeah, I mean, listen,
it
I don't
worked
think he's putting himself in the wrong direction. He's got
for
youthful
sure.
names. He's got trade assets. He still has plenty of
Yeah.
equipment to
This
rebuild the way
this
he's
team,
rebuilding.
yes, this team is very well on its way. It's got its draft picks, it's got its players. I think it needs to get rid of some players. They, probably get more draft picks or maybe like upgrade in position, but he's doing the rebuild the correct way, essentially.
Yeah, what he has, so he has one in 2024.
He
What's cool,
has,
he's got one in 2024 in 3 seconds. So what's cool about this upcoming draft class is that there is an abundance of upside quarterbacks and upside wide receivers. So those 4 picks for him should help him with this youth depth that he's looking for. And then 2025, he's got an abundance of picks. So
Sure.
the next 2 years, he will definitely generate depth that he's looking for.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on to your team. The team with the most draft picks. So how much you have here? You have one, two, three, four, five first round draft picks and a second, and then also the fifth. And then you have 225. So all right, so you're really making your move here. All right, let's dissect this team here real quick. All right, so you have Tua, Kyler, and who was your other quarterback? They have Sam Howell, and you just got rid of Justin Herbert for T. Higgins and a first, I believe that was correct.
Yep. Might
Two,
have been
two
two
first.
firsts. Yeah, it was two
Savage.
firsts.
Wow, T. Higgins is just getting traded away in this league. Third trade in his career here. All
Well,
right.
hopefully this is the year that he goes to another squad and finally cements himself as an RB. Sorry, a
Yeah.
wide receiver one.
It's going to be interesting to see where he goes because he's definitely not staying on Cincinnati. Like that's not happening. There's
If they did it, it would be irresponsible
yeah,
for their
there's no
financial cap.
shot that's happening. All right. So obviously you have a good foundation with your quarterbacks. Like I would say Tua is good to go. I would say he's kind of like your main one.
Yep.
Um, Kyler and Sam Howell are the ones that I kind of worry about, but I know you're big on Kyler. I think I'm a big Sam Howell person, and he's going to be starting on this team next season. Not even a question about it. He shows that he has it, and they just need to
Yeah.
build a team around him, and I really think that's it.
Yep.
He, he's going to lead the league in getting sacked in an NFL season, which I
Wait.
don't really
So
know
listen to this.
if that's
So
like a
listen to this.
is that a
He's
QB stat? Like, what do you think about that? I
it
hear
is it's
people
not
say
a QB stat. It should be a lineman stat, if
like,
anything.
yeah, like what is that?
So he not only is he going to lead the league in sacks, he's still currently second in total passing yards.
Yes, dude.
So like, how does that happen?
I don't know.
I mean, in my mind, that means he's a stud.
He is a stud. He looks good on the football field. Well,
He's the
so I watched
QB4 on the fantasy season. He's the overall scorer number 8 on the fantasy season. He's 23 years old, 6'1", 220 pounds, rumbling, bumbling, getting out here, running for first downs all the time. I love him. I love him. And I drafted him in the rookie draft in the 4th round, I think. Yeah,
mm,
406.
oh my God, I'm on Kyler. I was like, what the heck? Why
I
is
know
Kyler
I knew you secretly love Kyler. I know it.
no 406? Yeah, you're right. So that's a pretty big steal. So I watch football with my friends on Sunday, and we always say Sam Howell is the better Baker Mayfield. He kind of has that swagger of a Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield, but he's obviously just bigger. So
Yeah,
he's
he's not an
he's,
absolute
he's better than Baker.
jerk.
But that's pretty solid, you know. Obviously, I mean, I'm sure you don't want to give away your plans here, but five of those first, are you thinking about even a little bit getting another quarterback? I know you love quarterbacks, so I'm sure you're definitely probably going to get one.
Oh, I'm definitely getting one.
Okay, there you have it.
Fellas, there are 2 studs. We all know this. May and Williams. I will have one of them. Someone else will have another.
It looks like you're going to have both of them. So,
No, this guy's gonna trade. And if nobody wants to trade, I'll take them both. That'll definitely happen.
oh, you're
But
definitely going to do that.
but I'm telling everybody right now, if you want one of those 2 guys, come draft day, call me up.
Hit them up. All right, let's go to your rest of your roster here. Obviously it is very big, kind of like wide receiver heavy. You got the names of T. Higgins, Drake London, JSN, Noah Brown also kind of making a resurgence here. You have Jordan Addison, another great name there. Jacoby Myers is someone that you're definitely going to be throwing your flex. Treylon Burks is someone I own in another team. You really just got to hold on him. He has been pretty much banged up his whole entire career.
Yeah,
So
he's unfortunate.
you don't really know exactly. It is very unfortunate. He had a great college career in Arkansas, and now he's just dead.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna treat him like a rookie quarterback. Like you just gotta hold him for the first 3 to 4 years of their rookie contract. You just gotta see if he develops at all.
yeah.
Another name I really like, who I've been holding for a minute, I'm pretty sure I picked him up on waivers, is Dontavian Wick.
Davian Wicks, dude. So he's been trending a lot in the fantasy space. People are thinking he's going to be a stud. So,
Yeah. The
and he is,
Packers have been, ironically, Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers because they won't give him any wide receiver help. But this year, last year, and this year, the wide receiver draft choices plus the free agent signings have been solid.
yeah,
And it's just insane to me that the Packers couldn't have just done this 2 years earlier to appease their Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, look at clearly Love can get it done. So
I
it
feel
is
like
what
it
it
also is
is.
the Aaron Rodgers problem though, because like he was like, oh, bring in my guys, like Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard are literally on the Jets, and what do they do?
Well,
You know,
I think if he was playing, they would have done a lot more.
but still, it's just
And I
like,
think Cobb is actually more of like a locker room guy.
oh,
I think Aaron brings Cobb. I
Cobb
think
is
Aaron
definitely
brings Cobb around to be like, yo, young bucks, this is what Aaron wants.
true.
I
So,
really genuinely believe that. Did you see the Hard Knocks episodes at all?
of course,
He straight up tells the young guys, he's like, listen, if you don't get it done,
you're not going to
Aaron's
get
a
the
cool
ball.
guy, but if you don't get it done, you're done.
Literally. But no, you're definitely right there. But now you get these younger people, they're developing in their own way. So I would agree that definitely the wide receivers on the Packers are definitely on the come up here. Christian Watson's been having a really good last 2 weeks. He's unfortunately out for Monday already, with his hamstring issue, from his last game. But he's been doing pretty solid his last 2 weeks. Jaden Reed is looking like a
Reed,
utility player out there, amazing. And then
Wicks, and the two young tight ends,
yep,
they're all looking good. They
yep,
are.
they are. So pretty
They're
solid.
probably going to draft a running back this year, even though it's not a great running back class, but they do need to,
Yeah.
remold that running back room. But they're in a good spot, the Green Bay Packers. They really are.
And you're also in a great spot here. You have Brees Hall kind of as your hero RB here. I know he's had a down season, but I think that's just more of the Jets. The Jets offensive line is completely just decimated. They
Yeah,
start a new offensive line literally every single week. So, but
yeah,
I would love to see Brees to, I don't know, have a big run. He did that last year. He had his big
yeah,
runs, even though there was a bad line. So that we just haven't seen a big play from Brees Hall since the Giants game when he had that large touchdown. Like that is pretty
yeah.
much the last time we've seen Brees Hall. And what was that, 4 weeks ago?
At least. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, here's the thing: it's like because I have my own pick back, I don't mind the slump,
yeah,
right?
that's true.
It's gotten me down to the 102 with my own pick. I know I own all those picks, but you never know what other people's teams are going to do. So having gotten my own self down to the 102 just secures what I'm hoping to do, which is have those top picks.
Yeah.
Brees is definitely my anchor. With his slump season, he's still the overall RB16. I know he's fine. I know, this year wasn't his best year, but if you just look to his rookie year, you know,
Oh, the
well,
rookie year was amazing.
we're talking about multiple. I mean, right now we have what, 3 20-point games.
Yeah.
Last year we had one, two, three 20-point games before his injury. So it's like, you know,
He gets
he's on
receptions.
pace.
His receptions are keeping him alive here for sure. Look at
Yeah.
that. Boom. Like if without that, like his rushing stats just look pretty abysmal,
And
unfortunately.
here's the thing, Aaron Rodgers next year, there's going to be a passing threat. So they can't stack the box against him. He's going to have such a good year next year.
For
And the
sure.
same
I do
way that
believe that.
Aaron Jones was utilized in Green Bay is the same way that Brees Hall is going to get utilized in the Jets. So in a sick way, him not performing excellent this year is okay
Yeah.
because of where I'm at. I
Hey,
knew
it helps you.
2024 was going to be my real window of competition, the beginning of my window of competing. I
Yeah.
knew that I was not going to be able to. I mean, there was in the beginning of the year, I was getting some wins, and I was like, wow, I might actually make the playoffs. This is kind of cool. But once everyone started to get close to each other here at the end, I was like, okay, I'm going to make some trades, look for 2025 because even if I do make it, it's just kind of a waste.
Yeah. I mean, you're building the team the right way. It looks good. Like if Drake London, JSN's already making that next step, I would say. Like he's well on his way.
Yeah,
Drake London's just
which
on
has
a
been huge.
offense.
That
So
scared me a bit. I was a little scared about JSN as the
yeah,
season was going on, but they finally
I think
made the
you're
torch
I
change
think he's
from
good. Yeah, he's good to go.
yeah.
Noah Brown, like I said, this is a good solid team. And then obviously you're going to be adding one, two, three, four, five, six players, and I'm sure they're probably going to be doing some trading. So this lineup's going to look good. It's going to be a good, healthy lineup, and then you definitely have some chances to make a run at it next year. So that's
Yeah,
pretty solid, good stuff right
the
there.
plan the plan is
The
working.
plan is definitely working, which is awesome. So you shouldn't be number 9 next season, which is obviously the goal here. All right, let's go to Santana and Joe, the reigning champs here. So Santana won it all last season. Um, I know Alexis feels a way about that. So let's kind of dissect his team here. So this is the team who traded away Justin Jefferson. So that's always a big knock here. But I would say Santana's draft class that he drafted has been pretty respectable. Rashid Rice, Zay Flowers, Josh Downs. I believe that is all that he got from this draft class.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
him, I don't know how, let's take a peek. Did he draft? Yeah, he did draft Collins in the original draft, so good for him. I wasn't sure if that was a trade piece. Zay Flowers and Josh Downs have been doing excellent for him, just like you said. His trade with me for Herbert is a great move for his future. Um,
Yeah, I think Santana's doing a mini rebuild here.
yeah.
And he's honestly he's heading on his players. Like I said again, like Rashid Rice has been amazing for the Chiefs, and he's just getting even more and more snaps. And
Oh yeah, the
the
Rice. I
Chiefs,
missed the name
the
Rice.
Chiefs are definitely they found their wide receiver. I know everybody is always like, I want to go get the Chiefs wide receiver because they're going to be good, and then they've been complete L's. But Rashid Rice looks good, and he has
Yeah,
definitely been moving in the right direction here. You
yeah.
can see the slot
I don't know
last few
how
weeks.
deep into a rebuild, he wants to go, but now that he has Herbert, you know, he can really he can really rebuild. I mean, he still has a 2024 first rounder. So, like I said, this is a deep quarterback class. This is a deep wide receiver class. He's got three stud wide receivers here. You could take pieces like Amari Cooper, Geno Smith. You could take pieces like Kirk Cousins, like obviously not right now because he's still in his injury protocol, but word on the street is he's going to stay with the Vikings. The Vikings don't really have a position of a draft
Yeah,
capital. Like they're going to draft a quarterback, but it's going to be a second day, third day quarterback, a
sure.
developmental guy.
And
Um,
Kirk was
but I
doing
think they're going to
great.
re-sign Kirk. I really do. I think they're going to re-sign Kirk, maybe a 2-year deal. I mean, at the bare minimum, a 1-year deal, and he can either hold on to Kirk and fuse him with Herbert, and then try to piece things together and make a small run,
For
or,
sure.
in my opinion, you know, use Kirk when his value is higher to get more wide receivers or maybe even youthful tight end.
Yeah.
Use Kittle to trade away. Use Najee to trade away. Use Geno to trade away. Use
Well,
Cooper to
he
trade away,
just
and just
he
keep
just got
building
Najee.
yourself.
He got Najee in a good deal. This happened maybe like 3 weeks ago. Traded DeAndre
Najee a
Swift in a
first and a
third for
second for
Najee,
Swift
a
and a
first and a
third.
second. That's solid. That's a
That is
good
a good deal.
return. I
Yeah. I mean, in
saw
my
that
mind,
deal. I loved it.
I think that's a great deal. I think in my mind, keep capitalizing off what you just did. You just got a
But
first and a
literally
second.
do that
Go get
again.
more for Najee.
Do that again. Keep
Yeah.
doing that with players. That was a solid deal. I saw that and I was like, that is a good smart play right there.
Here's a
Uh,
really good question, Jay. He's only played 2 games. Oh no, he's played 3 games, but one of them might have been a half game. Yeah, one of them was like not really a full game. Is Browning gonna get traded? Like, are the Bengals trying to put this guy on the map so that they can get some draft capital for him? Because that's what the Giants are definitely doing with, you know,
Tommy DeVito.
Gabagool, Gabagool.
No, I don't think so. I think we are starting to realize in this league that you can't just be trading away your backup quarterbacks. You need a backup quarterback in this league. Like
Yeah,
everybody's dying. Like people are just falling off the earth, and like you're just like, and then they're left there with nobody. And it's just bad news bears. You need a
yeah,
quarterback, and I think people need to start real like not people, teams need to start realizing like, okay, I need a competent quarterback so my team doesn't absolutely fall apart. If you have a good squad and your quarterback happens to get hurt, hopefully not for the end of the season, but for a couple of weeks, you want to be able to withstand that. You can't just be like, okay, let's throw out the season. And the season, it's long. It's a 18-week season. So you can't just be, floundering away, or 17-week season. It's just
Yeah.
people got to figure that out. But
I took a second look at his bench and I missed Chubb and I missed
Ramondre,
Ramondre. So eh,
he's got a squad
he's
here, low
he's
key.
yeah, he's in the middle. If he wanted to like full rebuild, he's got so many pieces to acquire so many assets.
Yeah,
If he wants to stay water until next season and just kind of see how his season starts off, he's got one 2024 first rounder. So like if he's like saying to himself, you know, should I look to the future? What does he have in 2025? That's a good question. He's got
he still has
one
picks
first
there
rounder in 2025 and two second rounders. So there's also a world where he can just draft another player in 2024, a wide receiver preferably, because I don't know about this running back class coming up, but he has running backs, which is good. So maybe he goes for another wide receiver. He's got his five here. He adds a sixth youthful guy that maybe can work his way in. I think that's about as much wide receiver depth as he has. He does have significant running back depth, and then maybe he does something to figure out a more consistent tight end. How consistent has Kittle been this year?
Kittle's been solid.
Uh,
Kittle's been great.
yeah. I mean, it always drives me crazy to have any kind of a player that goes 4, 6, 16, 1, 27, 1. You know, he
Hey,
had a
that's
4 week
why.
he had a 4 week
That's
streak there, 13, 23, 21, 22. That was a nice 4 week streak, but then 4 and 10. Like, I think George Kittle is one of the most underrated tight ends in the league right now, but that's because of him being a total football player.
for sure.
He's underrated because he's an amazing blocker. He's underrated because he actually can run the football if they handed it off to him. And he's underrated because he's an excellent pass catcher in a offense that has excellent pass catchers. So I don't know. If I'm him, I'm trying to use George Kittle and something to get a more youthful, more consistent tight end. I mean, Mayer could blow up next year. Um, I think Kraft is better than Musgrave on the Green Bay Packers. Um,
That's a hot take right there.
Ferguson is looking great on Dallas. I don't think you're going to get Laporta, but maybe Kittle and something gets you Laporta. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
in my eyes, inconsistency just drives me nuts. I'd rather have a bunch of players that definitely score, 12 to 15 points than one player who can be 4 or 24.
I'd say tight ends now coming out. So what? The last two tight end classes have been pretty solid as well. Like they're
I
producing.
think 20 I think 2023
Well,
is
we
going to
shall see.
be known as one of the best tight end classes of all time.
Yeah,
I
we
don't know.
shall
I
see.
mean, 2024 obviously has Brock Bowers, but after that, there's maybe one or two names that are kind of relevant, but I don't think they're going to be like this past class. This past class had 6 or 7. All of the NFL knew what
Mm,
what was out there.
for sure. All right. Well, that's Santana's team. So there we go. All right. Now we're moving on to the territory of probably the last team to not make the playoffs. My prediction is that everybody is in the top six is going to stay in the top six, but they were really just going to be switching some spots here. Um, Joe and Kyle face Berto. They really need to get that win from Berto to get into the playoffs. If they do that, I would probably be getting kicked out just because of points force. But you know, getting a double over Berto these days is not easy. He's definitely the hottest team in the league right now. So something to kind of like watch out for right there. But let's look at Joe and Kyle's team. All right. So obviously they just lost Trevor Lawrence, so maybe lost
That's
Trevor
tough.
Lawrence once again, a game time decision. So
I mean, for a guy who's just trying to, scratch right into the playoffs, that's just a
yeah,
bummer.
it is a bummer. And now he also lost Christian Watson, so that's an L right there as well. So
Yeah.
this team's interesting. Kyle put in the chat, does anyone want Christian McCaffrey? Like Christian McCaffrey is obviously a buy for anyone that's trying to win it all. I do wonder the market price.
Nobody swept him up though. When did he put that
Yeah,
in the chat?
maybe I think last week actually. I think it was like last Saturday or maybe even Sunday.
I think I'm gonna throw this out there. I think the reason a lot of pieces didn't move is because people had already traded away a lot of their 24s. When you really think about where the 24s are, didn't we just say, I have five, and we just said someone else had two. So that's 7 of 10. So
Yeah,
that means none of the competitors have their first rounders. That's why these people weren't moving.
I just there's people already have a solid team, and it's just like you're kind of have to make your moves with your players, and it's just like
It's
I don't know.
just to me, it's insane that if someone says Christian's on the block, that a contender doesn't just like sweep them up. So what I'm thinking is everyone wanted to, but they already made their moves.
And they don't have the draft assets to make the move essentially.
Because Joe, I mean,
Obviously,
because
why would you go after Christian McCaffrey?
yeah,
That's silly. That'd be
yeah, it wouldn't make sense.
yeah, exactly. But obviously, Christian McCaffrey is probably the most valued player outside of quarterbacks in fantasy. So,
Yeah,
I wonder if they got anyone to reach out to them. So that's super interesting. But you look at his team, and it's definitely not like the worst thing in the world. I think it's kind of just like all over the place, to be honest. It's just built. Interestingly, next season they're going to be starting off with Trevor Lawrence and Anthony Richardson. So that's a solid duo right there. That's a steady foundation. Perfect. Let's move on to the other positions there. Javonte Williams has definitely been someone who you're expecting more out of. He had a couple flashes a couple weeks ago, but then he kind of simmered down a little bit again. But
for coming back this
exactly,
fast off of his injury, this is a good sign.
you're
There's a good
definitely
sign that next
exactly
year,
trending in the right direction
yes. So right now, in my mind, like you said, good quarterback foundation. Does he have any picks? Doesn't have any picks that are going to
I
get
don't
him like a
think so.
legitimate quarterback.
He has a second, a third, and a fourth, and a fifth.
There's
So
there's a
maybe
world there's a
or
world
a
where
quarterback
you
drops in a second for sure.
yes, there's a world where he gets a quarterback in the second, but
Maybe a
in
little
my
Sam
mind,
Howell
those
action in
two,
the fourth, like you just did too. So who knows?
yeah, yes, these things do happen. Um, he's got two good quarterbacks. If they stay healthy, he doesn't need a third. He's got two good running backs if he maintains Christian McCaffrey. You go down, we don't know how long James Conner will remain a viable flex and rotator, but he still has him for that. He's got Brian Robinson for that as well. Obviously, the injury is a pain in the butt, but he'll be fine next year. So in my mind, he's secure to keep competing at quarterback and running back. Now let's take a peek at wide receiver. Christian Watson, good. Brandon Ayuk, good. He's also got Charbonnet and Dillon for running back, so he's definitely secure at running back.
A lot
DK
of depth.
Metcalf is fine. Um, his wide receiver room is the problem.
Yeah, that's
His wide receiver room does not have
but
enough depth
he's
to
got
really
tight ends
compete.
though. He's got tight
He
ends.
does.
Ingram, Trey McBride, and Hawkinson. That's those are tight ends that you can start every single week.
Yeah, I mean, he's got it. If okay, I don't like to always say if I was, but Evan Ingram and either Hawk or McBride got to go on the trade block, and you got to get what you can for them in terms of wide receiver depth. If you do that, then you can stay in a competitive window. You have the assets to stay in a competitive window, but you cannot make a competitive run with only three viable wide receivers.
For sure. I'm sure
Can't
they're
do it.
going to be going wide receiver shopping. They have to be. And
Yeah,
but you really do bring up a great point with the whole running back depth. Like they have a surplus of it. It's actually pretty incredible.
which is another position that they can utilize, when. So if someone's saying, oh, I have an abundance of wide receivers, I'm going to let go of, say, you know, Michael Pittman or Devonta Smith, or if you have to find the teams that have an abundance of wide receivers, and then you got to say, hey, I'm going to bolster your tight end room and your running back room. I'm going to give you Evan Ingram and Brian Robinson for you know
yeah,
a middling flex worthy wide receiver, like a Marquise Brown. That would be a good trade.
that really is some good trade talk. I do want to talk to you about Trey McBride though. You
Yeah,
know,
he's stud. He's a stud
wild. Look at this.
because he's a
He has
stud.
he's been going insane. And obviously Arch is not on the team anymore, so he's been someone you could start. Like I would keep him for now, and I would kind of see if this is someone who I can transition my tight end to. I think the person I'm getting rid of is Evan Ingram. I think
Well, you're definitely getting rid of Evan Ingram. The big question is, do you want to stay youthful and kind of roll the it's not a hard dice roll because we've seen that he can produce,
yeah.
but like you're gonna get more for TJ Hawkinson. So are you saying to yourself, I know Hawkinson's a top three tight end and I need to keep
Top
him.
one. He's the number
He's the
one.
guy.
He's the number
Wow,
one.
he's the guy this year. And you know what? He's 26. So like I don't know. I don't know. The
He's
way my team is, I would keep McBride. I would get as much as I can for Hawkinson. But the way his team is, I might keep Hawkinson and just see what I can get for McBride. If you can get a first rounder for McBride,
that would
I
be
think you
wild.
got to do it. I
That
think
would
you
be
got to
wild.
do it.
Hey, I need a tight end because Kyle Pitts stinks. So I don't know. Maybe we should talk. Um, uh, but honestly, not a bad team here. I'm definitely very excited to see what this team's going to be doing next season. Anthony Richardson, I think, is just going to be a absolute stud, but he needs to stay
Yeah.
healthy. He needs to stay healthy. If
Well, him
he,
having Daniel Jones is what really solidifies that he has enough quarterbacks.
that
Like
is
we did
true.
say, he's got a second round pick, but and like, yeah, I'm a Giants fan. I know Daniel Jones has really been, screwing us, but he's going to be a starting quarterback somewhere. It's going to be on the Giants next year, and then after that, we don't know. It all depends on how he performs. But he's Daniel Jones is a quality quarterback three. He
For sure.
is. He just is. We all can hate on him, but in terms of fantasy, he will get it done as a quarterback three. You have the two starting quarterbacks. In my opinion, go wide receiver shopping with your extra assets, and you can make this team competitive. That's just where I'm at.
All right, so we look through these bottom four teams, and our league does whoever wins the losers bracket gets the 311. Who are you picking out of this group?
I am going to do everything I can to do so. I don't know if I have the firepower to beat AR-15 when Trevor Lawrence comes back. It's for me. It's going to depend on my quarterback play.
I
If
would.
Tua and Kyler finish off the season strong, I don't think I lose in the losers bracket,
I
which
think
I would
it's gonna
love the extra
be.
third round
I
pick.
think it's gonna be you two. I think it would
Yeah,
come down to you two to for that thing.
yeah.
So, all right,
I think
now,
my guys are still just a little too young to actually whoop them.
but they could have a
So
breakout. You know,
they could, end of the
you just need
season
you
is
just need
always
a
a good
blip
thing for the rookies.
for sure. Exactly.
Yeah,
So, shall see. All right. So now let's go on to the I'm predicting to be the playoff bracket here. So essentially, what's going to happen here? Top four teams they're already clinched. They're in. So pretty much me and Bash Bros are trying to figure out if we're going to be in. It is looking like that should be the consensus here. I have the PF over essentially everybody besides Joe and Kyle, but they're facing Berto. So I
the
should
only
probably
the only
be
real
in.
threat is AR-15, right?
Yeah, exactly. But they're facing the third seed,
Yeah,
Berto. So
it doesn't look promising.
doesn't look promising unless someone down here like you, Santana, or Samala catches a win and beats me by like 140 points this week, which who knows? That could happen. They'll sneak in there, but probably this top six is going to be the top six. So I'm going to kind of do this in a way where I feel like it's going to land. I am most likely probably to lose this week, so I should be that sixth seed. So let's kind of go to my team and skip Bash Bros for a second here.
Sure.
All right, so let's do my team. This is my team. What about you? You started off here. Let's hear what you have to say
Yeah,
about.
I like your team a lot. It just the dice didn't roll in your favor. Elijah Moore wasn't supposed to fall apart, but I don't think that's Moore's fault. I think that's your other quarterback's fault, Deshaun Watson.
Well, Elijah
Told you
Moore
to
has
be,
never started on this team. This is his first start on the squad.
but I'm
He
saying like you saw
amazing.
flashes throughout the
Yeah,
year
yeah, yeah, yeah.
where it was like, okay, we know this guy's a dude, but there was no offensive consistency for him to get in a rhythm. Um, I told you not to, trade for the touchy guy, but you did it.
The who?
The touchy
Oh, the
guy.
touchy guy.
Listen, I think Fields is a buy right now because people doubt him. I think he's going to go to a team. I think you're praying that he goes to a team with a competent quarterback coach. Saquon, if you wanted to trade him, you could, but if you're still saying that you're in a competitive window, keep him. ETN is a must keep because he's more youthful than Saquon, at least by a year. AJ Brown's a stud. Garrett Wilson's a stud. When Aaron Rodgers is back next year, he'll be fine. Pitts, you just can never trade. You just have to hold him until the year he finally figures it out. Madison, get the heck rid of him. Debo, your call. He's still a stud, but is he always going to be a stud? Is he going to go back to an injury prone year? I don't know if you've looked at his history, but it's basically every other year he gets injured.
Yep.
So
It's not a good sign.
next year
Next year is
we'll
not looking
follow that pattern.
good.
So just be careful with that. I think Russ is a great quarterback 3. Watson is a great quarterback 3. So you're just going to have to determine, are you going to look for a new quarterback using those two as a trade asset? Or are you just going to say, hey, one of these two guys will figure it out. They'll be my
Yeah.
quarterback 2/quarterback 3.
I got Tommy
Lance
Cutlets
is a good
too.
stash. Say that again?
I have Tommy Cutlets too.
Yeah, he's get rid of him. God. Trey Lance is a good stash. Thompson is a great stash. Wilson is a great stash. Um, J.K. Dobbins is just so unfortunate. Cam Akers is
This
so
was where
unfortunate.
things kind of fell apart, though.
Yeah, this is devastating. I mean,
this,
like
this is where
unreal.
I was banking, definitely banking on the J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers resurgence. That was
Yep,
something that I was feeling
I would
pretty
have done the
confident
same
about.
thing. I would have done the
So,
same thing. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if I was in a competitive window, I would have done the same thing. They were both youthful, right? Running backs coming off devastating injuries. I mean, you saw it with Saquon. You saw it with um who's another good ACL example? Oh, you're seeing it now with Javonte Williams. Like the younger you are when you receive these injuries, the more likely you're going to bounce back in a big way. And these guys are just they don't have legs at this point.
yeah, you
Like
know,
and then J.K. Dobbins does the opposite leg. Are we kidding? Like
yeah,
he doesn't actually have legs. It's
that's
okay. Rico Dowdle and Kenneth Gainwell are great backups. Herbert, that's scary. Um, Kirk is a good backup or starter.
Kendrick Bourne was someone who was starting on my team before he went out of his ACL injury. All I have to say is
Yeah.
that Kendrick Bourne did very well for me when he was here. So
I don't
shout out to
dislike the
Kendrick
guy.
Bourne.
I don't dislike Kendrick Bourne or Rashid Shaheed. But they're shooting
I,
star
yeah,
flex
I would
help.
do
They're
Kendrick
not
Bourne. Rashid Shaheed is a true like that's a
burner.
Jameson Williamson. That's a Jameson Williamson
Yeah,
kind of guy. So
comp. Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
comp. I think Khalil Shakir is gonna be a good stash
there
for
he
the
is.
Bills. Um, I don't know, Jay. I I like a lot of the names on the team. If I'm you, I'm trying to find an anchor quarterback.
Yep,
I don't I don't see an anchor quarterback on this team. I mean, Russell is what right now? Russell's 14, so that's
yep.
not an anchor quarterback. I mean, he's scoring your points. Fields, let's see what he's done the last couple of weeks. 23 and 10. Like that's the scary thing about Fields. So you look at week 4 and week 5, you're like, "Yes, he figured it out. 35, 41." And then he gets hurt,
Yep.
right? And then the 3 weeks prior, 16, 16, 12. If he has the physical capability to be just fine. It literally all depends on where he is. If he stays in Chicago, that sucks. It just sucks. Chicago
I
just
would
isn't
say, I
run
mean,
well.
he has coaching wise, like his connection with DJ Moore has definitely brought him up though. Like that's been definitely a plus
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. I see.
Um,
Here's the thing: Chicago is making the right moves to support a young quarterback. At least bringing in DJ Moore. I don't know about their offensive line, but the big issue is they don't have good coaching. That's the
yep,
issue. Like
yep,
the issue is that you don't have a. I don't even want to fully blame it on the head coach. I could, and I can, but
and you can.
you need a quarterback coach. You need a good quarterback coach. That's why so many head coaching jobs in the NFL now are becoming offensive coordinators because the assumption is they know how to communicate better with a quarterback, which is your foundation to
Or
your
you just have
dynasty.
to have a guy that you trust as like that can help quarterbacks as a head coach, you know?
Yeah, your hope is to get some sort of a coach that's going to develop a young quarterback. Unless you have a stud signing trade free agent quarterback that can do it on his own, that can challenge himself like a Tom Brady or a Christian Kirk Cousins. Um, uh, you know, Derek Carr didn't do it. That's what they did in New Orleans. They said, "Hey, we got a defensive minded coach. Let's bring in a veteran. Well, Carr isn't
Yeah,
competent enough
and
to
Derek
do it
Carr,
on his own,
he doesn't have the sauce like
and
that.
neither is Garoppolo. Not
No,
competent enough to do it on their own. So it's like you have to either get a quarterback that can run an offense on his own, aka what the Jets did, right? So the Jets got Aaron Rodgers, who can literally run an offense on his own, and then Salah can worry about his awesome defense. Or you draft a young quarterback and knowing that you have a really good developmental quarterback coach. That's the only two ways. And you're Jay, if he goes to a competent team and you research that they have a good offensive coach or quarterback coach, then Fields will be your anchor.
he's a hold.
But he has to be. He has to be.
You know,
I don't dislike your team. I just can see I
it's
can see the
definitely
holes.
it's definitely very frustrating. Obviously you were
Yeah.
trying to make a run for it, but I mean, obviously I'm making the playoffs, woohoo. But then, like, at what cost does that do? I need a
You
I
would
need
you would
I need
rather make a shot at the
I,
the the 311.
I mean, I have my first round pick, so cool, whatever. I mean, obviously I would rather just like not make the playoffs, like, but hey, maybe Justin Fields will rattle me off 3 straight wins in a row. He'll go off for 50. Who knows what's gonna happen? That's fantasy football for you right there. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe you call up, Brownie Stud Muffins.
No, I
You you
don't know.
know,
I don't know if
you
that's gonna happen, but
you let them know that, your first rounder and that's really it. You let
yeah,
them know that your first rounder and your second rounder, maybe a 2025 second rounder is available and you trade your way up for you know,
a stud.
Drake May.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, next team I want to talk about is Bash Bros. So this team is so crazy. It's just so interesting. I obviously there's always talks of like the team with the most points forced might not make the playoffs. Like they were so close to not doing that. Just
Unreal.
getting some bad draws here. I don't know why Sleeper is being so weird. They obviously set their lineup and Josh Allen's definitely in here, but this team has to do it this year or things are just going downhill. Like they have to
Scary.
do it this year. And I think they know that as well. They went in and got Austin Eckler, like I said. So it actually was a third and a first, so not terrible, but still happy that Samala got that first for Austin Eckler. Definitely a huge
Yeah.
move. But yeah, this team is definitely needs to make its move. You have Josh Allen, and then they started Bailey Zappi, which was a good move. Good for
Wait,
them.
what is
Very good.
actually going to give these guys a heart attack every single week is Baker Mayfield or Zappy.
That
They're
is
literally they're going to have a heart attack every single week
They
figuring
did
out
it
which
though.
one
They
is going
did
to
it.
do the
They
better
did it this
job.
week though. That's awesome. I'm so happy they started Billy Zappi this week. That is clutch. Did they start Billy Zappi this week? I sure hope
Yeah,
so.
I mean, they did.
No,
Yeah.
they didn't. They didn't start him. They started Baker Mayfield instead.
Wait, I'm looking at their lineup though and it says that
You got to go to the matchup. I don't know. Sleeper's being super weird right now.
oh,
Uh,
that's weird.
and not like setting it, but oh, that's a tough draw right there. That stinks. Um,
I
but
mean, is
hey,
he in a
whatever.
position where if he loses, he's out?
Nah, no, no way. He has the most points forced. He's good to go.
Yeah,
He's
so he's in. So it doesn't really matter.
Actually, he does need to win because if anyone else of the AR 15, yeah, he needs to win. This needs to be a dub unless
Why?
everyone else loses. He needs everyone under him to lose.
Oh, you're right, because he's 5-8. I thought he was 6-7.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
so
true. Yeah, he's got to be careful. That would be so
that
tragic.
that would be pretty devastating stuff right there.
That'd be tragic for me too, because then he's gonna get the 311 because his team is insane.
Team is literally insane, but I doubt that happens. We'll see. But yeah, Josh Allen obviously holding them at quarterback. Josh Allen's a stud, and will continue to do so. He has Josh Jacobs and Austin Eckler at running back. Are the Raiders on bye this week?
They might be.
Oh, no, they're not. So he probably has Josh Jacobs in the real one. James Cook. So Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Austin Eckler. Those are his three starting running backs. And anyone that's really going to be getting some play here. So that's good to go. The big thing this week in fantasy football is, are you sitting Austin Eckler this week? If you have Austin Eckler, are you sitting him?
No,
I wonder if he's sitting him. That is the true
no,
question.
he's not sitting him, and he shouldn't be sitting him. He doesn't have. He just has to keep him in and pray
Yeah.
for the best.
I think his starting lineup is what he needs to play. I don't think he really has anyone else to play. This besides Gabe Davis, I guess. Yeah, like his starting lineup of Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, Austin Eckler, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelsey, DJ Moore, Mike Evans, James Cook, and then a quarterback. That's it. This is what's going to bring him to the promised land here. So I think he's got to hope no one else gets injured these next couple of weeks, or his run's not going to be the best here. So, but this is a good, obviously old squad. These are a group of vets, and then they want to go for the ship. I like the team. It's very threatening. When you look at it on paper, if he had a better QB too, I think it'd be absolutely more threatening. But he'll survive with Baker Mayfield, who QB 16, 15.89. He gets the job done. You got to hope that he's hoping his position players obviously break out. Mike Evans has been an absolute stud. What is he? Wide receiver 8. Ridiculous. He's been
Yeah, what a dude. What a
so
dude. First
dude,
ballot Hall of Famer. What a
oh,
guy. I love him.
unbelievable. Really, this team really needs Cooper Kupp, Austin Eckler, and even Travis Kelsey. I don't know if you have some Travis Kelsey on your teams, but
I never have
he
Travis Kelsey. It's
he
devastating.
hasn't been the Travis Kelsey who's been going off for a bajillion points. So something to
Yeah, there's
really
something going on. There's something
some,
going on in the Chiefs scheme right now. I
something
just
to
don't think they have
monitor.
enough total firepower.
Yeah, and it's a shame. But
Yeah.
hey, you'll see. But overall, this is a good team. I think this is a team that everyone's always been afraid of. They always constantly put up points. They're one of the best teams in the league. And I really do kind of still see them as a threat. Obviously they're going to go in the playoffs, and this is a team you don't want to see in the playoffs because they could just go off at any time. They have big,
Yeah.
strong veteran names, and but this has to be the year. Look at their draft capital. They
Yeah, it's so bad.
luckily they have their first for next year. That I didn't think they
Yeah.
had their first, so that's super good. Um, they got rid of their first for 25. Like if they don't win it this year, I think they're gonna have to blow things up a little bit and take some draft picks for some veterans that I don't think they're gonna get the cost that they want, but they're gonna have to get the cost that they need essentially. But I don't
Yeah, I don't want to ruin anybody's day, but uh you're old, bro.
Yeah, no, but
You're
seriously, but
really
a good
old.
a good team. I think they make a run at it for sure. I think this is
I
a team to be afraid of.
I I'm a huge fan of like rooting for the underdogs. Now, the team is not an underdog, but the fact that he's clawing for the playoffs and has the most points forced, I'm like, come on, bro, you can do this. Like
No,
I want it to happen.
if he loses this week, that would be insane. Who's he facing? Samala. He's probably gonna win
Yeah, he's more than likely going to be all right, but that first week of the playoffs is going to be tough
for
because
sure.
it'll probably be Mac versus him, the one versus the six.
The first and second get a bye, which we're about to get into.
Oh, so it'll be third versus sixth.
Yeah, so it would be three versus six, but I'm probably going to be six, and Bash Bros would be five. So it
Oh,
would
okay.
be. So this is what it's looking like. So
Are you going to lose?
we
Are you
did
saying
some.
that you're going to
Yeah,
lose?
yeah, yeah. I would assume
Oh,
so.
all right.
But if I win, that definitely I keep the same spot if I win because I'm 2 wins away. But
Yeah.
doing some playoff math here. All right, so the top four teams are in. So realistically, it is Mac and Alexis are fighting off for the first seed. And Mac's facing you, so there's
That's
something
a
right there.
that's a win.
All right, so basically, we're back in Alexis are kind of just facing off for the first seed. Alexis is really close to the PF right there, though, so that's something to really monitor. Only 37 points away, and obviously that changes some playoff implications on like which side of the bracket you're going to be on.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's kind of go into this. So Berto also has a chance the at a bye week as well. He needs to win, and one of them needs to lose, and then he gets slides up there because
Yep.
he has higher points
Enough points.
for them.
Yeah.
But let's go. Let's get into this. So let's go into the Fountain of Youth here. This is the Joe Burrow team, which is pretty sad, and they're still getting up there. So CJ
Not
Stroud,
only the Joe Burrow team, but the Justin Jefferson team. I mean, Justin
yeah,
Jefferson's coming back, but he lost so much production.
yep. And this is good. This is a good squad. I worry about their flexes, which you can kind of see right here that we're gonna get into a little bit. But CJ Stroud, I can't believe what did he get drafted? 108, 109. We are so stupid. What are we doing? What are we doing out here? This is
Listen,
crazy.
listen, listen, listen. You can call
109.
yourself stupid. You can
109. Yeah, I'm
you can call
stupid.
yourself stupid. Listen, I wanted CJ Stroud, but I had four quarterbacks, four.
Amazing. He's a
And I
beast.
tried to trade back. I did. And
Uh,
nobody wanted to.
CJ Stroud, and he has Jordan Love, who has now made his resurgence again. Obviously, he had a couple of down weeks. Now he's QB9 of the year. Look at that. That is good. What a
Yep.
beast. Good,
I'm
good for him.
literally riding him into the sunset in my listener league I'm in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How's that going for you?
Dude, dude, it's great.
Good for
In
you.
my league, I'm in second place on the bye week, and in that listener league, I was in first place until last week, where someone just beat me in points forced. We had the same record the whole way through, but he just surpassed me in points forced. So I'm bye week secure in two leagues.
That's amazing, and that's where you want
Yeah,
to be.
enough about me.
Yeah, this squad again. This is a scary squad. Tony Pollard, he's been picking it up these last couple of weeks as well. Rashad White is a complete volume running back, and he does well with it. One of the people you want on your team. Absolutely just getting the carries, getting the receptions. He's it. A mini little Christian McCaffrey there, essentially. Like I said, Tony Pollard's been pretty solid. Someone
How
that
did
he
we
really
talk
needs.
about Green Bay before and not say Dobbs?
Yeah, you're right.
How did we do that?
We forgot about him because he only scores a touchdown per game and then he goes away. He's not like a
Man,
flashy player. He is very
yeah,
he's just there, but he does it. So whatever.
security blanket.
Yeah. Devontae Adams definitely needs to step it up for him. I would say to really, really make this push. He hasn't really been the best. Well, actually he's been picking it up these past couple weeks, but
Yeah, this is
he's
how
he's
this is
at,
how I
at
see it,
8,
Jay.
4, 12, 2, 7.
Yeah,
That's nasty stuff right there.
this is how I see it, Jay. If Tony Pollard remains in this above 15 points for the playoffs, Rashid White is doing the thing. If Rashid White is going to be just fine. His running backs are fine. Stroud and Love are going to be just fine if they remain where they are. And then he's got boom games from Jefferson and Hill. I think, in my opinion, this is the
And
most dangerous
Hill is
team.
always a Bill game. Hill is always a boom game. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
that's what I'm saying. But I think what I would say is Justin Jefferson is always a boom game as well, but we don't know coming off of his injury.
24,
So
24, 28, 26. Disgusting. That is
yeah, it's
amazing.
nuts. So in my opinion, this is the most dangerous team in the playoffs.
And they have Brandon Cooks with Dak Prescott going crazy
Yeah.
right now.
Yep. I don't think that their flex positions are abundant, but they would do the job alongside of Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson.
They also
So
just got DeAndre Swift, so maybe change DeAndre Swift for Romeo. I wonder what they're doing this week. Let's take a look for that because
well, I'm pretty
that's
sure they already played. Yeah, don't play George Pickens anymore. Isn't that what happened?
no, they didn't play George Pickens, but
Oh, all
they
right.
are playing Dobbs over Swift this week, which it's definitely not a bad call. But
Yeah.
I feel like those would be the only two that you're really maybe Odell Beckham. Like I mean, he hasn't been terrible. I guess Lockett is also yeah.
No, Lockett's a no.
Lockett's
But
a
those names that you said are potentials. Lockett's a no.
Lockett's definitely a no. Yeah, I agree.
Lockett has been overtaken by JSN. In my opinion, this is the most dangerous team in the playoffs. This is, in my opinion, this is the team that's going to do it.
Hey, and that's what they want to do. So
Yeah,
they went buying a little bit. And this is a good squad. It's scary. It really is a scary squad. Tyreek
yeah.
Hill and Justin Jefferson should not be allowed in the same team. That's a sin. And
Tell
they
that
have
to Ben in our league.
well, he has
Justin Jefferson and
and
Chase on the
Jamar
same
Chase.
team.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, I
Stupid.
think I think the Fountain of Youth has it. They should be a good formidable squad to make a run at it. I would say we're gonna move on to this next team, Berto's team here. But I think Berto's team is one of the scariest ones as well. He obviously just lost Jonathan Taylor, which obviously stinks because he was coming back. Jonathan Taylor was making a run for it, and
He was.
he was coming back to tell everybody that he's all running back one. But a team that has Jalen Hurts is always going to help you out. Brock Purdy has been so huge for him. Berto picked
Yeah.
Brock Purdy on waivers for $50 on December 6th of 2022, and he's never looked back.
Beautiful thing. That's something I
Unbelievable.
can really appreciate. That's great.
So and
That's well done.
he put up the money for him too. $50 is not cheap for sure.
And guess what? When you pay, you get quality, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So Burrow's team has always been one to not get past the hump. He is 0-2 in the playoffs. He makes the playoffs and he always looks like a dangerous team, but then his team just falls,
Well,
you know?
yeah, it seems like his team just what's amazing is how much depth he has. He has
Yes, dude,
abundance
he
of
has
depth.
so much depth. It's
Abundance to the
crazy.
point where I would get confused on who to start sometimes.
But the
But
depth helps. Like,
they all
so
get hurt.
Pacheco just got ruled out this week. So guess what?
Pacheco,
He's not even skipping a
Mark
beat right now.
Andrews, yeah, Pacheco, Mark Andrews, Mike Williams. You know,
And it's still look at this squad, and it's still like obviously I think the worst
Jonathan
part of it
Taylor.
is starting Jerry Judy. But Jerry Judy could have a game. Who knows? You're really just hoping for that.
Yeah,
Puka has been an absolute stud. Absolute stud.
I really like Puka. I just I know that there are games where it's going to be Cup, and I know Cup's at the end of his role.
It's been
I
zero
really do
cup.
know that.
It's been zero cup games. I think the only cup game was when Cup returned back was the only cup game.
Well, so if you look at
It's
the
it's all Puka now.
yeah, but if you look at the injury time frames of Cup and Stafford, it's almost like they're running away from each other. Like they're not lining up
Uh,
well. So now that Stafford is
and Cup.
seemingly
Okay.
healthy and Cup is healthy,
That's a
listen,
good point. That's a good
there's
point.
no doubt in my mind that Puka right now is the better receiver because he's got the youth, he's got the size, he's got the speed. But I'm just saying that chemistry is still there with Cup in the playoffs. They're a team that's pushing to make the playoffs. They're like scratching tooth and nail to make it. I just I'm not ever gonna complain that Puka's on my team. I'm just saying I could see Puka crapping out for the fantasy playoffs because he hyper focuses on Cup.
Yeah, that's honestly not a bad point of the whole Stafford and Cup since they haven't really been on the field too much together.
Yeah,
But if Puka can keep up what he's doing right now, Berto's definitely gonna be looking dangerous. Devontae Smith has been on an uptick, but Dallas Goedert is returning this week, so there's always that thing. So Devontae Smith always goes off when Dallas Goedert is hurt, which has been for the last 2 seasons for sometimes. That was the best time to be a Devontae Smith owner, but now Goddard's going to be back, so it's going to be interesting to see if his targets and his receptions go down again. So
yeah.
Devontae,
I traded him in another league because I noticed that trend.
yeah. So and like look at this, like he's definitely been picking it up. So but Dallas Goedert's back, so it's going to be something to monitor. CeeDee Lamb has been the second best wide receiver in the league, not named
Yeah,
Tyreek
stud,
Hill. So
stud.
absolute, literally, you can't ask for anything better than this. So
In my opinion, as long as him and Dak Prescott are on the same team, I think he's actually better than Jamar
they,
Chase.
they are a league winner. Well, right now for sure, they're
Well, I'd saying I would if I'm at the 102. Sorry, not the 102. If I'm picking between the 1, 2, and 3 wide receiver, it's still Jefferson, and then I take CeeDee Lamb before I take Chase. I
even
do.
with Chase with Burrow.
Yep.
Wow, that's a spicy take right there. But I
Yep.
think I think he's allowed to be in that conversation. He wasn't in that conversation, and
No,
he's there now. He is
absolutely.
undoubtedly there. Derrick
Yeah.
Henry, always a veteran, but this is the person that always craps out on him, man. He makes the playoffs and Derrick Henry doesn't do anything, which is always a sad part. So Derrick Henry's obviously been on an uptick, but he's also been hurt. I don't think is he playing this week?
I'll tell you this.
I guess so.
This is probably the best schedule that Derrick Henry's had at the end of the season in a minute. You know,
Ever.
he can run on Miami, he can run on Houston, he can it might be harder against Seattle, but he can run on Seattle. He's got Houston again, which he can run on, and he'll be able to run on Jacksonville.
Yeah,
So, and the other thing about that too, it's a lot of division games. So they're gonna need to win. They're gonna fight to win. They're gonna even if they're mathematically out of the playoffs at some point, they're still gonna be doing their best.
for sure. This is David Montgomery has also been pretty fantastic as well. This is a good team. I would
It's a
agree.
good team.
I think the Fountain of Youth is more dangerous looking at these two teams kind
Yeah.
of moving forward. All right,
I don't Berto can win, but Fountain of Youth, in my opinion, is more dangerous.
for sure. All right, let's move on to these next two teams here. So next we have Alexis, who I pretty much ruled out this season, but he's been fighting. I have to give him props. Like he really has been fighting. I would not expect his team to make a big run in it, but he is the second best team in the league apparently. So let's kind of go through it. Huge win for him with Ezekiel Elliott. Obviously, Ramondre Stevenson went down. Zeke is here. Zeke is back. Put up 27 points on Thursday. That's huge. Alexis is getting really big help from these weird veterans who are supposed to be gone, but now they're back.
Yeah, running back
Um,
specifically.
yeah. Well, he had Adam Thielen in the beginning of the season who went absolutely bananas, but now he's obviously back to reality here. So Adam Thielen's pretty much like a sit, honestly, moving forward for me. Cortland
Yeah,
Sutton has been on a touchdown tear. Um,
Binder. Kids on a
huge,
Binder.
huge for him. Obviously, Jamar Chase is kind of back. Jake Browning hooked him up last week. He had a long touchdown, 11 for 149. Insane. If that connection can kind of continue, this team is gonna do some things here. Jalen Waddle has obviously been a little bit of a soft spot here, but he could definitely go off for some weeks, see what happens there. Someone that you want to keep around. If I guess if I was Alexis, I would have even traded Jalen Waddle maybe for like maybe even a veteran wide receiver who's actually producing right now. But I guess Jalen Waddle is someone that's good to keep, obviously. But just for like a win now type of window. Alvin Kamara,
I was trying to do that in my listener league. I had Waddle and Smith, and I saw that they both were like doing okay, but weren't really getting me like the numbers to win the whole thing. So I tried to
yeah,
trade them both. I got to trade away Smith, couldn't trade away Waddle.
Waddle is definitely not an attractive name right now, but he is like he's someone that I would want Waddle like someone that I
Yeah,
would draft.
he's not an attractive name for a run in the playoffs.
Correct.
Everything else he's attractive for
Buy
this
low,
specific
buy
year.
low for sure.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara,
I think if Alexis does the thing, it's going to be on the backs of Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, and Dak Prescott. If those four continue to be the anchors of their team, scoring 20 points per week, then you'll be fine.
ooh,
But
sneaky is Keaton Mitchell though. Is Keaton Mitchell going to be activated off the taxi squad for playoffs?
I mean,
Maybe.
over Adam Thielen, possibly.
He has Marquise Brown, who has kind of been with Kyler
If
Murray.
Marquise
So
Brown and Murray figure it out, well, Marquise got to
that
get
would be
healthy, but if
huge.
they figure it out the last couple weeks, he would be a flex worthy play too.
Look
I
look at Marquise Brown with Kyler Murray last season, beginning of the
Yeah,
season. Boom. Look at that. That is what you want out of Marquise Brown, like
yeah,
today. And that he's not doing that. Obviously, look at
yeah.
what he's done with Kyler. Kyler
Well,
returned what 3 weeks
what's
ago?
good for him is that he's got. I mean, what actually sucks for him is that so if Marquise Brown they're on a bye, right?
Yeah.
That sucks because you would have had another week to see if they have that connection or not. Now you're gonna have to determine. Wait, should I throw him in my flex if I don't know they have the connection?
Well, Alexis will probably get the bye, so he has a week to watch,
Oh,
and
then that's
see.
huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. Then that's massive.
So, but
Having that week to see, who you feel confident with is so huge, so
and
huge.
he's got some decisions to make too. Jake Ferguson over Dallas Goddard as well. That's a conversation now. So
I think. Well, he's got the buy, so he'll see.
yeah. So
He's got
and
to see who's
He
showing
has
up.
Dak Prescott. Basically, he is literally the QB1 over what the last 5, 6, 7 weeks. Just insane. Dak Prescott is hooking him up. Jared Goff
Yeah,
is the one that has been definitely holding him down a little bit. Jared Goff the past couple weeks actually hasn't been too terrible, but he's been playing some pretty terrible football, I would say.
yeah.
So fantasy
He's
wise, he's been pretty good.
Jared Goff is a great second quarterback.
Yeah,
Really, Dak and Jared Goff should be switched, but it doesn't really matter because they're
yeah,
both scoring the points.
same
But
thing.
I think I like his squad.
All
I
right, do you like this? So let's go after the past two teams that we just looked at with Fountain of Youth and Berto's team. This over any of them? Rank those three teams right now.
um so it's in the order that we spoke about it for me.
Yeah.
It's Fountain of Youth, then Berto, then Alexis.
Okay.
First, second, third.
I
I
feel
mean,
like I'm
any
kind
of
of
them,
yeah.
any given week, any of them can win. But here's what I'm thinking: running back is the hardest position to stay consistent with, and his anchors are the running backs. So like he
He
just has
needs
the most risky team. I'm not
yes,
saying he can't
for
score.
sure.
I'm not saying he can't score the most points as these guys. I'm saying for injury and for teams to just pack the box and slow down a running back, they're the most risky, or the least likely is a better way to say it, to score, 20 points a game. So
For sure.
because his team is anchored on so many running backs, he just has a disadvantage, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like it's tough. Like these are some boom bust players, like Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara. I don't know. Like I agree, it's a risky team. It is a risky team.
Yeah.
I
Totally
definitely
capable of scoring as many points as everybody else. But again, just because of the inconsistency of the running back position in terms of health and going against certain defenses that just pack the box, you just don't know.
pretty crazy. He would be going for a three-peat right now if it wasn't for that unfortunate DeMar Hamlin situation. Like he
Yeah.
would be a two-time champ. So that's pretty unreal. All right, let's move on to the last team here. I know we need to wrap up soon, so let's get to it here. So obviously, this is the most dangerous team. You see Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. You're just like, what the heck is happening? Kyron Williams been an absolute league winner. Bijan Robinson finally starting to become that RB1 for the Falcons. We move into the wide receivers. Michael Pittman has been an absolute stud. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Dalton Kincaid is one of the better younger tight ends, but Dawson Knox is back. So is that going to impact him? We shall see. Devon Achane, Chris Olave, and Jameer Gibbs. Like this is a studly young team who are putting up
He
points.
also just he also just lost Tank, which is devastating.
Devastating. Truly
Devastating.
is devastating. I have Tank in another league who was pretty much my wide receiver two. But he
Yeah.
was like wide receiver one numbers, and it was pretty sad.
Well, thank God this guy doesn't have any first rounders, because me and him, at least my future prediction, me and him are going to butt heads for a couple of years in
Yeah,
terms
I
of
think I think
young,
this is the
strong
best. This
teams.
is the best team on paper. Young,
All over.
young,
Yeah, now here's the
young team.
question, ready? This is where he's got Swiss holes. Kareem Williams, sorry, Kyrene Williams, is is he going to remain this guy on the Rams? Is he going to keep doing this level of production
It
on the
doesn't
Rams?
matter if it
Because
doesn't if for this season. I honestly don't even care.
for
But
this
Kyron
season,
Williams, this season he's chilling. But for next
oh,
season, I
absolutely.
don't even care.
So I'm talking future.
He
I'm
has
talking
he
future.
has Jameer Gibbs and Bijan Robinson and Devon Achane. Boom, those three.
Yeah.
Oh, who cares? I don't.
So for this
This
for this
season.
season,
I'm in.
those are actually his holes right now this season, because everything else on his team is consistent, right? So his holes right now are his rookies. Jameer Gibbs, boomer bust. He's been relatively
He's been pretty
consistent the last
consistent.
couple. He's been relatively consistent in
Six,
this last stretch, but he
definitely
did just
trending
have a
down.
6 point game. So
Yeah,
there's a chance that he can bust. A Chain, there's a huge chance that he can bust. Kincaid, there's a chance that he can bust. Bijan Robinson, there's a chance that he can bust. But you
sure.
have Pittman, who's the most consistent stud on earth. Brown, most consistent stud on earth. Patrick Mahomes, super consistent. Olave is a little scary,
Olave
but
is scary
yeah, between his quarterbacks and the consistency of his wide receivers, he's a very, very, very good team. And not only is he going to be a good team to compete in this year's playoffs, he's going to be a good team to compete for the next couple years with
for
Jalen Hyatt and Tank Dell on the bench. So this is for this league, this is my most feared team for the next 3 to 5 years.
for sure.
I
They are
I
set up
think
for the
my
future.
I think my process will allow me to compete with him over the next couple of years, but I can't deny that he has it right now. And he has
Yeah,
it right now, and he has it for the next four or
this
five
is what
years.
you want your team to become
Yes.
with your draft picks that you've essentially
Yes.
have accumulated. But this
Yes.
is a solid team. But I agree with you. Like there is definitely some room for some busting here, which is not good. It's
No.
like he he definitely also like last week he's on a
It's kind of the
two game
it's
losing streak. Not good. That's
yeah,
not good for
it's
team
kind of
morale.
what I said. It's kind
On
of what I said with the previous team. It's like you have the ability to score as much as anybody else, but because running backs are kind of your anchor, you could you could lose a game in the playoffs because one guy only scores 4 points or
Yeah,
5 points
like
or six
last week you
points.
only put up 113. That has to be a season low. If you do that,
Yes.
that's killer, man. That's
Yeah.
not good. That's you're
So
feeling not the best.
explosive, young, energetic, great team. Not normally the model of a championship team. Not normally the model.
For sure. But a solid team on paper. I love it. I mean, I
Yeah,
think this
Tank
is gonna
Dell
be
Tank Dell would have definitely changed up my opinion.
would have been one of the most feared teams in the playoff. Probably is still one of the most feared teams. All right, so you add Mac into the equation. Mac and Corey are so is he your number one
I think
for playoffs?
I still take Corey. I think I go Corey, Mac, and Berto at a very close 2A, 2B, and then Alexis brings
Alexis
up
with the
the
underdog
rear.
story again. He's not gonna like that. He's not gonna
I'm
like that.
sorry. Listen, I'm sorry. Just
Yeah,
trying to be
I've
honest.
been I've been I've been counting him out all season, and he's out here with a 9-4 record. So hey, I mean,
Listen,
maybe
he's already got a chip. Like
he
he
does.
doesn't have. I mean, like of
That's
course you want
the
to win
so, but
again, but like
Alexis is going into a rebuild though. Like I think he's getting very near to he's gonna be not competing soon. Like Joe Mixon and Alvin Kamara, we thought were already gonna fall off a cliff. Like Ezekiel Elliott is actually starting on the team. That's pretty interesting. So his draft picks, they're there, but I don't know, he doesn't have like a surplus. I mean, Ray lost his first next year, but glad he has a second, didn't give away his 25 first. So it's just he's kind of surviving on these old players, but sooner or later there is going to be some turnover.
yeah,
So just something
yeah.
to worry about. He
Unlike Mac's team,
they're exactly.
he's on the hill. Mac is just starting to climb.
I feel like Alexis and Bash Bros are on the verge of like we have some veterans here, but they're trending in well, I guess now they're trending in the right direction, but like future value wise, they are trending in the wrong direction. Things are going down. And then Fountain of Youth obviously has some really good stud players. So they should be good kind of like moving forward. I don't know if we even looked at their draft capital. What does their draft capital look like? So
Thank goodness it's
second and third,
nothing.
fifth. So yeah, they pretty much don't really have anything either. So they're
So
kind of
happy
surviving on
because if
their.
he still had draft capital, he would be able to leave me in the dust. But because I have the draft capital, I might be able to catch up to his
But you've
depth
got
and
some
his
players. You've
production.
got some players to get rid of. I
Yeah.
would even say like my team. Like I don't know. Like I have my draft capital kind of sort of. I mean, I have all my first, so that's always a big. But even like this, like I have players that I could even sell off that shouldn't even be on this team. So it's going to be interesting. And like obviously statistically, all 10 of us are still in it for today. But I think the top six are kind of cemented for now. But it's going to be interesting, kind of like moving forward. I would definitely say like you and Mac and the Fountain of Youth. I would even say Berto's team, honestly, are probably the four that are really going to continue kind of competing. I would love if my name was in that conversation. I just need some breaks to go my way with some of my players. And I would say like Alexis. I would even say Santana's team is definitely also trending towards a really good direction. Samala as well. And I would say the people trending down. See, AR-15 is interesting. I don't really even know what direction they're going, but I guess
It's going to depend on the moves he makes.
yeah, it's just I feel like
If he
everybody
makes
is
any.
in it in this league, which is good. Like I had some worry for Samala, but he's got the draft picks. He's making some good moves. And 5 wins this season with that roster is not anything to be ashamed of. That's pretty incredible already. So
Yeah.
no one in the
Yep.
league outrightly is terrible. Five
Nope.
win teams getting the first pick is pretty solid.
Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts here?
No, not really. We went through each team. I think each team was assessed pretty accurately. Best of luck to the dudes who are in the playoffs. Go for that chip. You never know how this crazy game can swing. Uh, just open up that trade deadline a little faster than you did last year, Mero. Let's get crazy.
Get crazy. Like when the championship is
Like
over.
the second the chip is over.
All right. I'll think about it. We could vote on it.
Thumbs up in the chat.
Thumbs. Yeah, let's do that. If you make it to the end, let's hear your thoughts on that. All right, boys. Have a good Sunday. Appreciate you all listening with our thoughts. And good luck with the playoffs. Like Brownie said, it's gonna be a good one for sure. All right. Peace, boys.